Billions of years ago, Earth was a completely different planet. No oxygen, no life as we know it, just rocks and oceans of strange chemicals. Then something impossible happened. Life appeared out of nowhere, with a genetic code so complex that even today scientists can't explain how it emerged. But here's the most shocking part. Our DNA has pieces that seem not to belong to this planet. Some researchers found genetic sequences that don't match anything that evolved naturally on Earth. What if life didn't start here? What if we humans are actually the aliens who colonized this planet a very, very long time ago? What if our true home is somewhere out there in the stars, waiting to be rediscovered? Subscribe to the channel. Leave your like and comment where in the world you're watching from, because now I'm going to tell you everything. Have you ever wondered what Earth was like before there was any life at all? Imagine standing in a place where nothing lives. Not a tree, not a small bug, not even a single blade of grass. In the very beginning, Earth was not the world it is today. There were no animals or plants, no colors from flowers, and no sounds made by birds or insects. The whole planet was empty of life. This is hard to picture because almost everywhere you look now you can see something living. But there was a time, a very long time ago, when Earth was just a big empty place with only rock, water and air. Scientists have spent a long time studying what Earth was like in those first days. The planet was very young back then. If you had been able to visit Earth 4,500,000,000 years ago, you would not have wanted to stay. The ground was covered in sharp rocks and hot lava from volcanoes. The sky was not blue like it is now. Instead, it was filled with dark clouds and thick poisonous gases. The air was hard to breathe. There was no clean water on the surface, only rough and dirty puddles made by rain falling on hot rocks. Oceans were just beginning to form, and they were full of chemicals that would seem strange to us now. In this early world, nothing could survive. Not even the simplest kind of life could live in such harsh places. But the Earth did not stay the same forever. Over millions of years, small changes began to happen. The ground cooled down. The wild volcanoes slowly became quieter. The air started to lose some of its most dangerous gases. Water from rain began to collect in the lowest places, making ponds and oceans that grew larger over time. The sunlight that reached the ground became less harmful. Still, for a very long time, even when Earth became a little more friendly, there was still no life here, just rocks, water and air. Then, something amazing happened. Scientists know this because they study the oldest rocks, and they can see signs of a great change in Earth's story. At first, it was not a big change on the outside. There were no trees or big animals. Instead, the very first living things were so small that you could not see them without a special tool called a microscope. These tiny living things, called microbes, were the first life on our planet. They did not look like anything we know today. They did not have arms or legs or eyes. They were simple, made of only a few small parts inside a soft bubble. But they could do something nothing else on Earth could do. They could grow, change, and make more of themselves. How did this first life start? This is one of the greatest mysteries that scientists still try to solve. Nobody knows for sure. Some believe that the right mix of water, heat, and special chemicals came together in just the right way to make the very first living cell. Others say maybe life began deep underwater, near warm cracks in the ocean floor where heat and special gases rose up from the inside of Earth. Maybe electricity from lightning made the chemicals join together and come alive. There are many ideas, but no one has found a clear answer. Each idea gives us clues, but there are still missing pieces in this puzzle. All life on Earth today comes from these super simple beginnings. If you could take a journey back in time, you would find a planet where only tiny, soft bubbles of life were floating in the ocean or hiding in small pools of water. At that time, Earth looked nothing like it does now. There were no green forests, no blue skies, and no animals or people. It was a world waiting for something more. These first tiny life forms did not stay the same forever. Some learned to use the sunlight that reached the oceans or ponds to help them make their own food. This was a very big step. By using sunlight, these simple creatures began to change the air around them, slowly making it better for new and more complex kinds of life. They added new gases to the air, like oxygen, which is what animals and people need to breathe. This process took millions of years, but it made Earth ready for bigger changes. How do scientists study a world from so long ago? They look for clues inside rocks and in the layers of mud at the bottom of old lakes and seas. Sometimes they find tiny marks or shapes left behind by these earliest living things. They use special machines to learn what chemicals were there at the time. Bit by bit, they build a picture of what Earth must have been like when life began. What they learn tells us that the birth of life was not a simple event. It took millions of years, and many chances had to come together for life to start. There is something almost magical about this first moment when life began. Before that, the entire planet was only moving water, rock, and air. No one knows the exact step, but suddenly there were bubbles full of special chemicals that could copy themselves and change. This turning point is one of the biggest changes in all of history. Without it, there would be no plants, no animals, and no people. For a long time after this start, life stayed very simple. Tiny forms floated and grew in the water or lived in thin layers on rocks. But that was just the beginning of everything that would come later. Even though we share some of the same chemicals with every living thing, it is still very difficult to understand how these simple bits turned into real life. Imagine having a box full of small parts. You can shake it and heat it or pour in water, but the parts will not magically come together to make something alive. The way these parts came together on Earth is still a question that scientists ask themselves every day. They have tried many experiments to copy what they think happened, but so far they have not been able to make life from simple chemicals on their own. Why is this question so important? The answer helps us understand where we come from. Every plant and animal shares something with those first tiny life forms. Even people, as different as we seem from a tiny cell, carry the basic tools for life that first appeared billions of years ago. Our bodies use the same chemicals and the same small machines found in the soft bubbles of the early Earth. This shows that all living things are connected in some way and that our story starts with those first tiny living cells. Some scientists even wonder if life could have started somewhere else first, maybe on another planet or a moon far away from Earth. They look at the way the first cells are built and ask if maybe the parts that make up living things could have come here from space. There are rocks that have fallen from other worlds, pieces of comets or meteors, and sometimes inside these rocks, scientists have found very simple chemicals or marks that look like tiny living things. These hints make people wonder if the beginning of life on Earth is also the story of life from someplace else in the universe. But for now, what we do know is that our planet changed in ways nobody expected. Out of chemicals that could not live, out of water and rock, came the first forms that could copy themselves and grow. Everything alive today can be traced back to those tiny bubbles. Over an unimaginable length of time, they started to join together, share food, and learn new tricks. Some started working together in groups, others learned to swim or drift with the ocean. Little by little, these small steps led to bigger and more exciting changes. You might wonder what these very first living things looked like. They had no eyes, no mouth, and no shape we would know. They were only soft bubbles full of liquid and small tools inside. They were very small, smaller than a grain of sand, maybe even 1,000 times smaller. If you tried to look at them with your eyes, you would not see anything. Only with very powerful tools can scientists today see things this tiny. Even after life began, the world was not full of animals and green plants right away. For millions and millions of years, all life was tiny and soft. These small living things drifted in the water or made thin sheets on the rocks. They ate and grew, and sometimes they joined together to make larger shapes, but nothing like a plant or an animal. Still, their work mattered. By slowly using sunlight and other chemicals, they changed things around them. The oceans became more friendly, the air got better, and the world was waiting for the next great changes. All this happened a very long time before there were dinosaurs or people. It took a huge amount of time for Earth to go from a place with nothing alive to a place filled with tiny bubbles, and then much later to the world we see today. The journey from no life to life is so slow that we cannot imagine it. It is like watching a tree grow, but over many lifetimes. Sometimes, when scientists talk about these early days, they wonder if the right combination of chemicals could happen anywhere, or if it was something very rare. Did it only happen once on Earth, or could it happen on other planets as well? If life could begin here, maybe it can begin again somewhere out there, in other places where there are rocks, water, and sunlight. This is why the beginning of life is such an important question. It tells us not just about the past, but also about the future. If we learn how life started on Earth, we can look for the same hints on other planets. We can ask whether we are alone, or if there are other places with living things, even if they look nothing like us. What makes these early days most puzzling is that so much has changed since then. The Earth we live on now is full of plants, animals, and people. The air is full of sounds, the land is full of colors and smells, and the oceans have life everywhere you look. But at the beginning, everything was quiet and empty. Learning what caused the change reminds us that almost anything is possible, given enough time. In the end, every living thing shares something in common. Whether it is a tree, a fish, a bird, or a person, there is a tiny bit inside that connects us all to those first, simple, living bubbles. The next big question is how those small, simple lives changed into all the plants, animals, and people that we know now. This is the big story of evolution, and it all began when the first bits of life appeared on the early Earth, opening up a world of new possibilities. When we look closely at the history of life on Earth, it is clear that everything began with small changes happening over a very long time. After the first little living things appeared in the oceans, life slowly became more interesting. These simple cells learned new ways to survive. Some used sunlight and water to make their own food. Others found bits of food around them, living off what was already there. Little by little, the world that was once empty started to fill with more and more living things. Each new way of living marked another small progress in the long story of life. At first, all living things were very simple. They were single cells, each too tiny to see, and each one looked much like all the others. After millions and millions of years, some of these cells began to work together. When a few cells joined as a group, they could do more than they could alone. For example, some cells learned to move while others learned to catch sunlight or food. These groups of cells became the first complex living things. The groups grew bigger and the work was shared. That is how the first tiny plants and simple animals began. The oceans were still the home for almost all life. For a long time, nothing lived on land, but new shapes and ways of living began to appear in the water. Some of these new creatures looked like soft blobs or thin threads. Others had simple shapes like sticks, circles, or jelly discs. Some could move slowly, using small parts of their bodies to swim or float. Life began to take many forms, and each change opened up a new way to live. The ocean became a place of small but important experiments. Over hundreds of millions of years, the world of living things became more crowded and more creative. Some creatures made hard shells to protect themselves. Others found ways to crawl or dig into the mud. Life started to fill every space in the water. Each small change, no matter how tiny, could make a difference between living and dying. These changes were passed on to baby creatures, so each new group slowly became different from the others. At some point, a very special change happened. Some living things learned how to use oxygen from the air and water to get more energy. This was a big step because oxygen helped creatures grow larger and become stronger. Once living things could use oxygen, they were ready for more complex shapes and ways of living. Life became more active and creative, with each new generation a little different from the last. In time, life began to leave the oceans and explore the land. It started with small, soft plants that grew at the water's edge. These early plants helped shape the air, making it even safer for more kinds of life. Soon, little creatures began to follow, moving onto muddy ground next to the water. At first, only a few tried to live out of the ocean, but over a very long time, more and more followed. The world slowly filled with new green plants and tiny animals crawling in the wet dirt. From these early steps, bigger plants and animals grew. Trees began to rise, and deep forests spread across the land. Some animals learned to live among the trees and plants, breathing air for the first time. They had soft bodies or thin shells, and they learned to move carefully on land. Each new skill was important. Some learned to dig, others to climb, and some to hide. Life on land was very different from life in the water, and it rewarded those who could change. As millions of years passed, more complex forms of animals appeared on land. Some developed strong legs to walk, others learned to jump, and a few began to fly. Before long, the world was alive with many different shapes and creatures. There were giant reptiles, tall trees, colorful plants, and insects buzzing in every place where green things grew. Life was now everywhere, deep in the water, across the land, under the soil, and flying in the sky. Scientists have found the bones and fossils of these long-gone creatures. They use these old remains like history books to understand how living things changed from one form to another. Each fossil tells a piece of the story, what a creature looked like, how it lived, and when it disappeared. By looking at these pieces together, scientists see that life was always moving, always adjusting to new problems and new chances. From these early animals, new types grew over long ages. At one point, some animals started to give birth to babies inside their own bodies instead of laying eggs. This was another change that led to new kinds of creatures. Some learned how to keep their bodies warm inside so they could live in more places with different weather. These features made it possible for animals to survive almost anywhere on Earth. Among these new groups were early mammals. They had soft fur, warm blood, and babies that stayed close to their mothers for a long time. After a great change swept Earth, making many old types of animals disappear, the mammals became more important. Step by step, they filled new spaces and grew in number. Some became hunters, others ate plants, and all found different ways to fit into the world. One branch of these early mammals learned to climb trees and use their hands to hold objects. These animals, called primates, had bigger brains and eyes pointing forward so they could see well. Gradually, they developed stronger hands, and their fingers became good for holding and picking. Living in trees helped them stay safe and find fruit to eat. Over millions of years, these small tree dwellers changed shape and ways of living. Time passed. In warm forests and jungles, primates learned new skills. Some lived in groups and helped each other find food and stay safe. Their voices changed, letting them call to each other in more ways. Their brains grew, helping them solve problems. As the world outside the trees changed, becoming cooler and opening into large grasslands, some primates began to spend more time on the ground. This was a new and unusual step. These ground-living primates slowly changed. They learned to walk upright on two legs, freeing their hands to carry food, rocks, or sticks. Walking on 2 feet was a big advantage in open spaces where trees were farther apart. It allowed these early animals to see farther and travel longer distances. This change was not quick. It took millions of years and many generations. Over time, the bodies, brains, and faces of these primates changed too. The group of primates that started walking upright are called hominins. Scientists study the bones and teeth of many types of hominins. Some were very short and still had long arms for climbing, while others were taller and had shorter arms and longer legs. The shape of their bodies and heads changed slowly, showing the long journey from ape-like creatures to early humans. Along this journey, the brains of the hominins grew larger. A bigger brain helped them think, solve new problems, learn about their world, and remember where to find food. Over time, they started to make tools from rocks and sticks. These first tools were very simple, sharp stones for cutting or sticks for digging. Even so, making and using tools was a huge step forward. Hominins learned to fire, which made cooking possible and kept them warm. Fire helped protect them from animals at night. The ability to use and control fire changed their daily lives. It also brought new ways to eat and live together because they could now cook food and share meals. Language and signs became important among early humans. These ways of communicating helped groups work together, plan hunts, and warn each other of danger. The ability to share and remember ideas made learning much easier. Storytelling and teaching helped each new generation learn from the last. Knowledge and skills were passed on not just by watching and copying, but by talking and listening. Communication helped shape early communities. Gradually, these changes led to the beings we call humans. Modern humans appeared much later in Earth's story, after many other types of hominins had lived and vanished. The first modern humans are known as Homo sapiens. Their bodies were made for walking long distances, their hands and fingers could shape fine tools, and their brains were more complex than any creatures before them. Homo sapiens spread across different lands, learning to live in many climates: hot deserts, cold mountains, deep forests, and open grasslands. They learned to fish, build homes, and make clothes from animal skins. They painted caves and made the first symbols. Even though every group lived a little differently, all shared the special skills that set humans apart. Not everything about this journey from simple cells to modern people is clear. There are still many mysteries. Sometimes fossils or tools are found that do not fit what scientists expect. Some bones show features that are unlike anything seen before. Scientists ask questions about when, where, and how certain changes happened because the path from early life to humans is not a straight line. Some branches of the family tree became extinct and others continued on. All living things, from the simplest moss to the most complex animal, are part of this long story. The way life changed from tiny, single-celled bubbles in the water to people living in cities took more time than can be counted in one lifetime. It happened step by step, slowly at first, and then with more and more new shapes and ways of thinking. Even now, evolution continues. Animals, plants, and humans keep changing, little by little, as the world itself changes. Sometimes these changes happen so slowly that no one sees them. Other times, a sudden event or problem changes everything very quickly. Scientists use many tools to learn about evolution and the story of human life. They look at bones buried deep in the ground, and they study the DNA hidden in every living cell. DNA is the code that tells all living things how to grow and what to become. By comparing DNA from old bones and modern people, scientists see how we are linked and where unique parts of our story may come from. Some questions remain. Not every part of human DNA looks like it comes from animals or plants that lived on Earth before. This puzzle is part of what makes the story of human origins so interesting. Each new discovery brings new pieces to this puzzle, but there are still things that no one understands yet. As we try to understand how humans first appeared, we look at fossils and living creatures alike. We see a huge web of connections. Plants, animals, and people, all joined together by long lines of change and adaptation. The appearance of humans was not the end of these changes, but just another step. It is a journey that began in the ancient seas, passed through forests and grasslands, climbed tall mountains and crossed wide rivers, and brought life to every part of the world. This long story helps us see that the past is always part of the present. The things we do today are shaped by the journey that came before us. Our bodies, our minds, and our ways of living all come from millions of years of slow, steady change. Each person is a part of this history, carrying hidden traces of everything that came before. The path that began with single-celled life continues to shape what it means to be human today, and raises even more questions about what is hidden inside us. Inside each person, there is something very special called DNA. Every living thing has DNA. It is the guidebook that tells a living thing how to grow, how to look, and how to work. DNA is found in every cell of your body, from the top of your head to your smallest toe. Even if you cannot see it, DNA is always there, quietly making sure you are you. Even a small piece of hair or a drop of blood has DNA inside. It is this tiny instruction manual that connects you to every living thing that has ever lived on Earth. Scientists have learned how to read and study DNA. By using special machines and tools, they can look at the code inside it. This code is made up of very small building blocks, arranged in a long, twisting chain. The order of these blocks in the chain is what makes one living thing different from another. If you look at the DNA of different people, you see almost the same code, but there are small changes that make each person unique. When you look at animals or plants, you see bigger changes. Still, all life on Earth shares some of the same basic pieces in their DNA. When scientists first learned about DNA, they noticed that people and animals shared a lot of the same patterns. For example, the DNA of a human and a monkey is very close. It is not exactly the same, but many parts match, as if the two codes started from a similar place long ago. The same is true for all animals, even those that look very different from you. The reason for this is that all living things come from the same very old, simple life that started in the water billions of years ago. Over time, the code changed little by little and new kinds of life appeared. This process is called evolution, and it is why animals and people share a lot of the same instructions inside their cells. But as scientists started to look deeper, they began to find parts of human DNA that did not match anything else. There are sections in the DNA that are not seen in monkeys, in apes, or in any other animal still alive today. These strange parts are not shared with any living creature. Even when scientists looked at bones from animals that lived long ago, they found the same problem. Some pieces of human DNA have no clear source at all. They cannot be traced to anything else that has ever lived on Earth, as far as we can tell. This puzzle made many scientists very curious. How could there be parts of our DNA that are so different? Where did they come from? At first, some people thought these pieces must be mistakes or leftovers that did not matter. But as new studies were done, it became clear that many of these strange pieces actually do important jobs in the body. Some are part of the way the brain works, or the way people fight sickness, or even in making humans look the way they do. These unique parts are not just random. They help make each person human. Some of these bits of DNA are called orphan genes, or unique sequences. That means they are alone, not matching anything else known to science. There are also small hidden codes in DNA that do not make anything right now, but may have been important in the past. Sometimes scientists can see when a new gene has appeared by accident because of a change in the DNA. These new genes can give people new abilities, a new look, or help fight off a new kind of sickness. Over many thousands of years, these new parts become part of what makes a human different from other living things. Scientists have also found things in DNA called jumping genes. These are bits of code that can move from one place to another inside the cell. Sometimes when a jumping gene moves, it can turn a gene on or off or cause a new trait to show up. These changes can be passed down to children and may help them live better in a new environment. Jumping genes are seen in many animals, but humans have special ones that are not found elsewhere. Not all the mysteries in human DNA are in the genes that make obvious changes. Some codes or sequences do not seem to do anything important at all. At least, scientists have not found out what they do, if anything. There are long stretches of DNA that seem to just sit there. For many years, people called this junk DNA, thinking it was useless. Now we know that some of it is actually needed for the DNA to fold and work the right way. Some of it may carry secrets from a very ancient time. These hidden messages in the DNA are like a story written out over billions of years, and we are only just starting to figure out what it says. When scientists look at human DNA very carefully, they find other very unusual things. For example, there are small pieces of DNA that look almost as if they came from viruses or other tiny creatures that might have entered our cells long ago. Sometimes, when a virus attacks, it can leave a little bit of its code inside the cell. If this happens in a sperm or an egg cell, that code can be passed down to children and grandchildren forever. Some scientists believe that ancient viruses helped shape part of what makes up human DNA today. There is another mystery too. Many of these special human DNA codes seem to have appeared very suddenly, instead of taking thousands or millions of years to slowly change. This is strange because most changes in evolution go very slowly, yet some important parts of human DNA seem to have arrived all at once, as if someone added them on purpose. This is not easy to explain, and there is no one answer that all scientists agree about. Some think new genes can sometimes appear quickly because of strong changes in the environment or special accidents inside cells. Others say these fast changes are impossible to explain by just the normal ways DNA changes. When you add up the strange parts of DNA, the codes that do not match any animal, and the sequences that appear all at once, you get a mystery that is bigger than just human evolution. This has made people wonder if there could be another story behind where humans really come from. Is it possible that some of the special codes in human DNA came from a source outside of Earth? Could tiny pieces or seeds of life have landed here from somewhere far away in space, bringing new instructions or abilities with them? This idea is not just science fiction, it is a real question that some scientists and thinkers have asked. There is a word for the idea that life, or the building blocks of life, can travel through space and start new life on other planets. This word is panspermia. It means seeds everywhere. Some experts believe that maybe, long ago, the special instructions in DNA that make humans unique could have come from somewhere else in the universe. Maybe those seeds or codes traveled inside rocks or comets or hidden in dust and landed on an empty Earth, adding something new that was not here before. To look for clues, scientists do very careful studies. They compare the DNA of humans with monkeys, with plants, with all kinds of other animals. They even look in the DNA of ancient bones, trying to find a match for those mysterious parts. Sometimes they use powerful computers to search for patterns in the DNA, hoping to find a hint about where a code came from or when it first appeared. When they look at these codes, they often use something called a timeline. This timeline shows when certain pieces of DNA first appeared or became important. Some of the most surprising parts of human DNA are very old. They were passed down over thousands and thousands of generations. Others are much younger, yet nobody can show exactly where they came from. This makes the question of human origins even more interesting. Another thing that makes human DNA special is that it leads to things that only humans can do. For example, humans have the ability to speak with complex language, to dream up ideas, and to create art and music. There are codes in human DNA that make the voice box just the right size and shape so you can make many sounds. There are also codes that guide how the brain grows, letting people learn and remember things very well. These special abilities are not seen in any other living thing. Sometimes, scientists try to change the DNA of animals in a lab to see if they can make them act more like humans. Even with many changes, the animals never really become like people. This shows that human DNA has something different, something that cannot be found by just putting together pieces from other animals. The study of DNA is always finding surprises. For example, people with red hair or blue eyes have a code in their DNA that appeared only a few thousand years ago. Before that, nobody on Earth had those features. The same is true for people who can drink fresh milk as adults, or who do not get sick from some germs. These codes can appear quickly, then spread through families and groups over time, making the story of human change even more complex. Some scientists have even used the study of DNA to look for hidden messages or special patterns. They wonder if a being from somewhere else wanted to leave a sign that humans did not begin on Earth, would it hide a clue inside DNA? So far, there is no clear answer. But every time a strange or new part is found in DNA, the question comes up again. The puzzle of human DNA shows that there are many things we do not understand about our own story. The unique codes, the fast changes, the lonely genes with no match. Each one points to secrets in our past. Some of these mysteries might be solved by new studies, new tools, or by looking in new places like deep under the ground or high up in the sky. Even if many parts of human DNA are the same as in other living things, it is the special pieces that set people apart. It is these parts that help make a person feel, think, talk, and create. They also connect every person, not only to each other, but maybe to something far away and long ago. As scientists work to uncover more about the meaning and story inside human DNA, they also look beyond Earth for answers. They wonder if other planets have life, and if that life would share any of the same codes. They study rocks from space, looking for tiny fossils or strange chemicals that could be the seeds of life. Sometimes they ask if a message or signal could reach us from far away, telling us where our deepest roots begin. The inside of every cell is like a tiny record of billions of years of change. The journey from the very first living cell on Earth to the huge variety of life we see now is written there, along with secrets and questions that no one can yet answer. The pieces that do not fit, the codes that seem to arrive from nowhere, and the powers that only humans have, keep people searching and wondering about what really makes us who we are. There is a sense that the story of human DNA is not finished but is still growing. With every new discovery, the past becomes both more clear and more surprising. Each answer brings new mysteries. The hidden codes and unknown genes could hold the key to our most important questions. Where do we come from? Why are we different? Are we truly a part of Earth? Or do we carry a part of another place, another world inside us? The search to understand DNA is the search to understand our very beginning, and it leads us to wonder what else might have started our journey of life. Some questions about the story of human life are very hard to answer when we only look at what is on Earth. The strange pieces found in human DNA, the secrets about where they come from, and the parts that appear without clear history push scientists to think in new ways. Many want to know if it is possible that life, or the pieces needed for life, may have started somewhere else before coming here. It is a very big idea, but the more experts study the universe, the more clues they find that make this idea feel possible. The idea that life could travel from one planet to another is known as panspermia. The word panspermia means seeds everywhere. It is the thought that small, tiny seeds of life, or the things that can turn into life, can move across space. These can travel on dust, rocks, ice, or inside big space objects called comets and meteors. When these objects fall to Earth, they might bring what is needed for new life, or even tiny living things that are strong enough to survive the long trip. Scientists have found rocks on Earth that really came from space. These rocks have special names, like meteorites, which means rocks that fell from the sky. Sometimes meteorites are found in deserts, snow, or even inside old rocks. When experts study these objects, they sometimes see special chemicals, like carbon, that are also found in living things. Some meteorites even contain very simple forms of life or things that look like fossils of small ancient creatures. These signs cause many people to think that maybe life, or the puzzles leading to life, can ride along on rocks from far in space. One of the most famous meteorites is called ALH 84001. This rock was found in Antarctica in the year 1984. When scientists cut it open and looked at it under a microscope, they found shapes that looked like tiny old bacteria. These shapes were very small and simple, but they made many scientists wonder if life could really start somewhere else, travel inside a rock, and arrive safely on a new planet. Rocks do not only fall to Earth, sometimes they also leave Earth. When something big hits our planet, pieces can break off and fly into space. These broken parts might travel for millions of years before landing somewhere else. The same thing could happen on other planets like Mars. Scientists have found rocks on Earth that match rocks on Mars, showing that the planets can trade rocks across space over huge amounts of time. Inside these space-traveling rocks, small living things might be safe. Some forms of life on Earth are called extremophiles. They can survive in heat, cold, darkness, or places with strong chemicals. If tiny life like this can live in very hard conditions, maybe it can ride inside a rock across space, sleeping for a long time until it lands in a new place where it wakes up and grows again. This is why the idea of panspermia, or seeds moving everywhere, is taken seriously by many scientists. Life might also move in other ways besides rocks and dust. Some experts say that strong dried-out eggs or cysts could survive floating in space. Others think that clouds of dust blown by solar winds might carry small living things or the building blocks of DNA to young planets. Some studies show that when sending small, simple life into space, a few can survive without air or water for a long time, even after hard radiation from the sun. This shows that space can be a road for life, even if it is a very dangerous one. Besides rocks and dust, comets are also important. A comet is like a dirty snowball flying through space. It is mostly ice, dust, and bits of metals. When comets get close to the sun, they heat up and release clouds of gas and dust behind them, leaving long tails. Some people think that comets can carry chemicals or perhaps even simple life frozen inside. When a comet crashes into a planet, it might drop water and chemical seeds that make life possible. Long ago, Earth was hit by many comets and asteroids. Some experts believe these impacts helped bring water to our planet, filling the oceans and lakes. Along with water, comets may have shared special types of molecules. In labs today, scientists have found building blocks of DNA inside some old meteorites. They have also made experiments with ice and chemicals, showing that energy from the sun or space particles can turn simple things into the first steps of life. When looking at the sky at night, there are other planets and moons too. Mars is often the planet people talk about most. It is our red neighbor in space. Mars is a place with cold deserts, empty mountains, and in the past, flowing rivers. Even now, Mars holds frozen water under its ground. Some think that if life ever started there, it might be hiding deep underground or in special small wet spots. Robots sent to Mars have looked for signs of life. Cameras have shown that the soil and rocks have the right chemicals for life. Some of the machines even found methane gas in the air, which on Earth can be made by living things. These facts do not prove that Mars has life, but they make some people believe Mars could be a source of seeds that landed here long ago, or might even hide life now. Other worlds are also studied. The moons Europa and Enceladus, which belong to planets far beyond Earth, have deep underground oceans hidden beneath their thick ice. Space machines have looked at the water and gases sprayed out of these moons and found things like salt and small organic chemicals. These chemicals are important because they are a real part of what makes life on Earth. If there are oceans under the ice and if water touches rocks below, maybe life could begin in these other worlds. To think about how far life can go in space, it is important to know how tough life is. Some bacteria and small animals on Earth, called tardigrades, can survive freezing, boiling, drying out, or even being hit by radiation. They might hide in dust or water droplets. When space agencies send small samples of these creatures into space, some come back still alive. This proves that the journey across planets is not impossible for some shapes of life. Besides natural panspermia, some people imagine another way that life can travel through space. Maybe very long ago, a group of beings with tools and knowledge sent life from their world to ours. This idea is called directed panspermia. It means life did not move by accident, but was sent on purpose. Perhaps those visitors sent seeds, eggs, or even information needed to build life, hoping it would grow somewhere new. If true, this would mean that somewhere else there are beings connected to us by family, even if we have never seen them. Direct evidence is hard to find. Still, the fact that Earth's building blocks can be found in space rocks and that some parts of DNA are strange and do not match any known living thing here makes people think about these big ideas. When scientists examine old rocks, they sometimes find molecules from space, proving that Earth and the universe around us share materials. The question remains, can these tiny gifts from space really start new life when they reach a young, friendly planet? In different labs around the world, experiments show how life might begin from special space chemicals. Scientists take simple molecules found on meteorites, mix them with water and heat or electric energy, and watch as new, more complex parts are made. Over days or weeks, these building blocks join together, becoming things that are close to the first steps of life. When these are put together, it is easier to imagine how an empty planet could turn into a place full of living things. Studying panspermia means asking many questions. Is it common for life seeds to move from one world to another? Does this happen only once in many millions of years, or all the time in small, quiet ways? What would it mean to find the same types of molecules or life on another planet or moon? These questions help scientists plan for new space missions, build better machines to search for signs of life, and think about what home means for humans and other living things. Stories about life moving between planets are not all guesses. Some scientists are working on ways to protect life on Earth from new germs or infections that might arrive from space. There are rules for how to clean robots before they land on Mars or other places. This is because, if there is life out there, bringing something back to Earth could change life here. Or, sending Earth germs to other places could change those world stories too. The sun, stars, and planets are always sending out energy, dust, and small particles into the universe. Sometimes, clouds of gas or dust pass near our solar system, changing what falls to Earth. Over billions of years, Earth has been hit by countless objects, each one possibly bringing new chemistry or a rare seed for life. This non-stop exchange means our planet is never fully alone. It is connected by tiny bridges to far places we cannot see. All of this makes the story of life bigger and more open than before. If panspermia is true, life on Earth could be just one part of a much larger story, one that includes other planets, other stars, and maybe other beings who once traveled the sky. The same strange pieces of DNA that puzzle us now could be pieces from a journey that started far away. Maybe hidden in human cells are tiny memories of a time before Earth was our home. New space missions are searching for small clues. When scientists bring back rock chips or dirt from the moon, from Mars, or from asteroids, they look with special tools for any sign of life, past or present. If one day even a single living thing or its remains are found with a familiar pattern in its code, it could show that life is spread across the universe. Even if nothing is found, the search helps us learn more about what is possible. The chance that life came from space changes what people think about being alive. It means we share more with the universe than just sunlight and gravity. Our bodies and cells could be the result of tiny seeds that floated for millions of years, asleep in darkness, until they landed on warm, wet ground and woke up to start growing. It means that somewhere out there, our oldest relatives might still exist. With every study and every new piece of information, more ideas come up. Many questions stay open. Are we alone? Are there other worlds with life waiting to be found? Are our oldest stories written not just on Earth, but in the stars? Just by asking, people find new reasons to explore, to look up, and to wonder where the first parts of us really began. The question of where life on Earth truly came from is more than science. It is part of what makes people curious about their own story. If panspermia gave us the first start, then the journey of life is far bigger than just one planet. The search for answers, whether in DNA or in rocks from space, brings people closer to understanding all living things and the great adventure that led from darkness to a world full of life and light. Even with all the big questions about where life started and how it might have come from far away, there is something about humans that stands out. When you look at all the animals on Earth, you see that humans can do things no other creature can do. This difference is not only about bodies or shapes, but also about how people think and what they create. While every living thing has its own way of living and surviving, there are skills and ideas that only humans have. This makes people wonder why humans are so unique and how these abilities appeared. One of the most important things about humans is the power to use language. People can speak in thousands of different ways. Each place on Earth has its own words and sounds. With language, people can share ideas about the past, talk about the future, ask questions, teach lessons, and tell stories. Language makes it possible for large groups to work together and to remember things that happened long ago. No other animal has language that is as exact and complete as what humans use every day. The ability to make art is also special. Long ago, humans painted pictures on walls of caves. They used simple paint made from plants, dirt, and rocks. The pictures often showed animals, people, hands, or shapes. These paintings were not just marks. They told stories, showed dreams, and kept memories alive for others. Even now, people create all kinds of art: music, painting, writing, and dance. Art helps humans share feelings that are hard to say in words. It also brings people together and helps them understand one another. Creating and using tools is another thing that makes humans different. While some animals use sticks or rocks to help them, humans learn to make many kinds of tools. Early people made sharp stones to cut things, shaped wood to make spears or bows, and later learned to shape metal into stronger tools. Today, people make everything from paper to computers and from small machines to huge buildings. The skill to imagine something that does not exist, find what is needed, and then build it, is a very human ability. Humans also create large groups and live in cities. They build houses, roads, bridges, and schools. They grow food in special fields, keep animals, and make rules so groups can live safely together. People organize themselves in families, towns, and countries. They write laws and governments. These groups let people share jobs, take care of each other, and solve problems together. Animals often live in groups too, but human communities are more complex, with rules and plans for the future. Thinking about the stars and the world beyond is also different in humans. Humans look up into the sky and wonder what is out there. They study the sun, the moon, and the stars. People make maps of the world, dream of traveling to new places, and even send machines to visit the moon and other planets. This curiosity, this wish to understand the universe, has helped people learn more about almost everything. Animals notice the sun and stars, but do not ask questions about them or try to visit them. Another special thing is how humans learn. People can teach and learn across many years. A person can read a book written 1,000 years ago or watch a film made on the other side of the world. Children go to school to learn about numbers, words, music, and history. Learning does not stop when people leave school. They keep learning at work or from other people throughout life. This way of teaching and learning lets humans pass ideas, skills, and facts to each new group of children. Memory in humans is strong and deep. People can think back to things that happened when they were very small. They can remember stories from their grandparents or from books about the past. Memory helps people avoid danger, plan ahead, and connect with others. Memories also make it possible for people to imagine things that did not happen, but could happen, like dreams or plans. Animals can remember what is needed to live, but human memory works for much more than only food or safety. Humans have a sense of self too. Each person knows that they are their own person. They can think about themselves, their feelings, their place in the world, and how others might feel. People can think about life and death, about what is right and wrong, and about why things are the way they are. This gives humans a special kind of understanding and responsibility. Many animals act by what feels good or safe, but humans think about their choices in very deep ways. When you look at the story of humans and animals, another question comes up. Why did all these unique abilities appear only in humans? Why did no other animal learn to speak in words, paint stories, or send machines to space? Some scientists believe that evolution can explain this. They say that small changes in the brain and body over millions of years let humans slowly become more skillful. But other experts see that many human abilities appeared very quickly, not slowly. In a short time, groups of humans started making complex art, building better tools, and sharing new ideas. These jumps in intelligence and culture are hard to explain by slow changes alone. The speed and depth of these changes have led some to wonder if there is a different story behind human skills. There are also questions about why human brains are the size they are, or why people can live in so many places on Earth. The brains of humans are much larger than needed just to survive day by day. This extra brain power gives humans the chance to explore, dream, and create. It may help explain why people do things not just to stay alive, but also to be happy, to help others, or to find meaning in life. If life on Earth was started or changed by something from outside, maybe some abilities came with special seeds in the DNA. If this is true, it might help to explain why humans are so unique. Some scientists look closely at the parts of DNA that make humans special and ask if these arrived in a different way rather than through slow changes. DNA might hold a record not just of animal history, but of something much older and more far away. Another thing that is special about humans is how they adapt. People do not only change by slow steps over thousands of years, they also make sudden changes by using their minds and working together. If a place is cold, people make warm clothes. If there is little food, people find another way to grow it or move to a new place. This skill to change quickly and together lets people live almost anywhere, from hot deserts to icy lands. The way humans control their future is also different. People plan ahead. They think about what will happen in a week, a month, or a year. They gather food, store water, and build homes to last through many seasons. By planning, humans are ready for problems before they start. No other animal plans with such care or looks so far ahead in time. Feelings are rich and complex in people. Humans can feel happy, sad, angry, or peaceful for many reasons. Sometimes feelings are about things that happened long ago or that may never happen. People can feel joy from music or art, sorrow from someone else's sadness, or hope for something better. These deep and wide feelings are part of what makes each person special. Moral thinking is another human skill. People think about what is good or bad, what is fair, and what is kind. Humans come up with rules and ideas about how to treat each other and live together. These rules can be simple or very deep, but they help people decide what to do in hard times, and they shape how people treat family, friends, and strangers. The wish to search for answers is also a human trait. People want to know where they come from, why they are alive, and what will happen when they are gone. They use science, religion, books, and questions to learn about life and the world. This search never really stops, and it helps humans make new discoveries every day. One more thing that sets humans apart is how they use time. People celebrate special days, remember birthdays, and mark the passing of years and seasons. They write down stories and keep records so that people in the future will know what happened before. Keeping track of time and history gives people a longer view and helps them see their part in a much greater story. When you bring together all the things that make people human, the way they speak, dream, build, learn, feel, and wonder, it is easy to see that something special has happened. Humans are not just animals that learn to walk or talk. They are beings that think about the stars, paint scenes from dreams, laugh, cry, and travel to new worlds. This deep difference asks for answers, not just from science but from every part of life. Questions grow when scientists find that these human traits appeared quickly. If changes happen so fast, are there secrets in human history that are not yet known? Why did all these new ways of thinking and living start in one group and not in others? Some scientists believe that maybe, long ago, humans carried memories or ideas from another place, and these helped start a fast jump into art, language, and technology. Even if these memories are now lost, the skills might still remain. Animals and plants are still changing, but humans seem to move faster. In just a few thousand years, people created music, built great buildings, and sent signals into space. Human culture grows almost every year, with new ideas, inventions, and discoveries. Sometimes, the way humans live makes them seem separate from nature. People build walls, make warm or cool houses, and use machines to travel quickly. They shape the land, change rivers, and plant new trees or crops. Some say this is a sign that humans are not fully at home in the natural world. Maybe these changes and the feeling of difference are because humans once came from a place not like Earth. This question connects with how humans fit into the larger story of life. If people have special knowledge, abilities, or memories, where did these come from? Are they only the result of slow changes, or did something new join the story at some point? Many experts continue to search for answers in bones, in DNA, in old stories, and in the skies above. No matter where human abilities began, they are now part of what it means to be a person. Each new child learns the same skills that began long ago. Each group adds new ideas, new songs, and new stories to the story of humanity. When you look back, it is clear that what makes humans unique is more than small changes or bigger brains. It is the ability to imagine, to join together, and to look for meaning in life. As humans move forward, they keep asking questions about themselves, about the world, and about the universe. The search to learn, to create, and to understand never ends. This wish for new answers will shape the next steps for all people, just as it did for those who painted in caves, built pyramids, or looked up at the stars so many years ago. The deep questions about being different, about changing quickly, and about not always fitting with the world around are not finished. Each new idea opens new doors, both for science and for the heart. Together, these questions lead to deeper studies into how humans live on Earth and why sometimes humans feel so different from the world they see around them. When you observe how people live every day, something interesting becomes clear. Most animals seem perfectly at home in their environments. They do not need much help to find food, stay safe, or build a place to sleep. But humans, even with all their special skills and ideas, often face problems in the natural world. People get cold in winter, hot in summer, and need clothes to protect their skin. Rain and strong sun can hurt people, and even a night spent outside can make someone very sick or uncomfortable. This is different from the way most wild animals live. Animals have fur, feathers, or thick skin that keeps them warm or cool and helps them hide. They always know where to find the right food and water, and they know how to escape from danger. Even today, if left without shelter, many people struggle in the wild much more than animals do. Humans make their lives better by building houses, wearing special clothes, and making tools. They change the land around them to make it easier to live in. People dig wells for water, grow food in big fields, and light up the darkness with fire, lamps, or electricity. They invent medicine for sickness, close their homes against cold or bugs, and make shoes to walk easily. In many ways, people must work hard to make Earth comfortable for themselves. This has led some thinkers to ask if humans were always meant to live on this planet. If people come from Earth like all other animals, why do they need so much help just to survive? Why are their bodies not better matched to the weather, the food, or the dangers here? Why do humans invent so many things just to feel at home? These questions are hard to answer. Some people believe that humans are just still learning how to live with the Earth, using their big brains and hands to solve problems. Others wonder if the answer is even bigger. Maybe humans were never fully at home here in the first place. Maybe they, or the life that became people, was made for a world that was a little different. A world with a different sun, sky, or soil, or a place where the needs for clothing and shelter were not as important. People have thin skin compared to many animals. They get sunburned easily and suffer from insect bites. Human babies have to be cared for and cannot live alone in the wild. People need to eat different kinds of food, and some foods can make them sick. Many wild plants and animals are dangerous to people, while other creatures do not have as many enemies or problems. Strong heat or bitter cold can quickly hurt a person, sometimes much faster than it hurts other animals. People's eyes are sensitive to light. In strong sunlight, they may have to squint or wear protection over their eyes. At night, their eyes cannot see as well as many animals can. Their sense of smell is much weaker than that of dogs or bears, and their hearing is not as sharp as that of bats or some wild birds. When it rains, people's hair does not keep them warm or dry. People must use hats, coats, and shoes, things they make, not things they grow. Other creatures, even small ones, can find food by scent or sound. They learn from their parents how to find shelter or hide from danger. These skills seem natural, almost automatic. Human children must be taught almost everything. They need to be told not to eat certain plants, not to touch fire, or how to use tools. When young animals are born, many of them walk right away and find food on their own, but human babies must be carried and protected for a long time. Because of these differences, humans have built up a life that depends on things outside the body: culture, tools, communities, and skills. People work together much more than most animals do. They learn from each other and share their discoveries across many generations. In this way, humans have survived and spread to every kind of environment on Earth, from deserts to snowy mountains, rainforests to wide plains. When someone thinks about how people live all over the world, you see many ways humans have adapted. People living in very cold places make thick coats and warm houses. They eat food that gives long-lasting energy and learn to build fires quickly. In hot or dry places, people use light clothes, build houses from mud or stone, and rest when the sun is strongest. In wet places, people make waterproof clothes and raise their homes up on stilts to stay dry. Every group of people has their own ways to adjust, but it still requires tools, clothes, and teamwork. Without these, most humans would not last long outside in the wild. Other things about the human body also make life on Earth seem strange sometimes. Some scientists point out that standing upright puts a strain on the back and legs over many years, causing problems that animals who walk on 4 feet do not face. The way human teeth and jaws grow can sometimes cause trouble, with crowded teeth or wisdom teeth that must be removed. Many people also have allergies to things in nature, like pollen or certain foods, and some diseases only affect humans. People use their intelligence to solve these problems, but other animals and plants appear to be made to fit right into their environments. They are shaped by nature, not by tools or inventions. This makes some experts think deeper about whether humans are perfectly matched to Earth's conditions, or if their bodies and minds are still adjusted for a different world or a different kind of life in the past. Even the cycles of day and night, the patterns of sleep, are different. People need darkness and quiet to sleep well, but many people stay awake longer than natural day allows. Long-distance travel or changes in time zones can make people feel sick or confused, something wild animals almost never experience. Human skin absorbs sunlight to make vitamins, but too much sun can cause sickness. These problems suggest a body that learns to adapt, but was not always built for the exact world it lives in now. Another sign is how people change their world so quickly and deeply. In just a few thousand years, humans have cut down forests, built large cities, changed rivers, and made new plants and animals by breeding. They can turn deserts into fields, build islands, and send signals around the whole planet. This shows great power, but also the need to create comfort and safety that other creatures are born with. The story of clothing is important too. Clothes are not just for style or beauty, but are often needed for simple survival. Without shoes and thick coats, many places on Earth would be impossible for people to live in. Most animals grow their own protection, but people must make it. Even small children ask for comfort from blankets, hats, and shoes. This skill to make clothing is ancient and not seen in other animals in the same way. Food is a daily challenge. People must cook many things to make them safe to eat. Many plants are poisonous or must be prepared in special ways to be healthy. Meat often needs to be cooked to avoid sickness. If people eat the wrong mushroom, berry, or fish, they can become very ill. Many wild animals can eat food directly from nature without any trouble. Water, too, must often be cleaned or boiled for people to drink it safely. Many wild creatures can drink from ponds or rivers without problems, but humans can get sick from germs or chemicals in the water. This makes people use fire, special pots, or even modern filters just to have safe water, a daily need for life. Thinking about these needs, some thinkers ask if humans once lived on another world with different rules for food, light, water, and air. Maybe bodies were built in a way that matched another place better than Earth. As people lived longer on this planet, their bodies began to change and adapt, but some old needs or weaknesses still remain. The way people work together is also unusual. Animals often live in small family groups or alone, while humans create huge networks of friends, families, teams, companies, and nations. They create languages and stories that tie groups together over many ages. Sometimes when people feel lonely, lost, or out of place, it is not just for emotional reasons. It might be because humans still feel a deep difference from the world around them. Travel is another example. People move to new places, even when those places are hard to live in. They cross mountains, oceans, deserts, and frozen lands. When they arrive, they must quickly find ways to survive by building new shelters, finding new food, making new tools, or learning from neighbors. Animals do migrate or move, but they often go back and forth along the same paths. Humans rarely settle. They are always growing, moving, and changing, as if searching for a perfect home that is never quite found. When you look at old stories and legends from many cultures, you sometimes see ideas about coming from another place or returning to a home that is lost. These stories talk about journeys, lost lands, or searching for a spot where people truly belong. This could be a memory of moving long ago, or a sign that people have always felt a little different from the natural world. The question of feeling out of place is not only about challenges, it is also about hope and imagination. Because people do not fit perfectly into any one place, they dream of new worlds, new homes, or better lives. They build new cities, new cultures, and even dream about living on other planets. This wish to belong and to explore may come from a deep part of being human. Physical health is another sign that humans have to work hard to live. People face hundreds of sicknesses that come from small germs, bugs, or bites. They must invent cures and treatments for problems that do not bother many animals. Some sicknesses only appear in humans or are worse for people than for other creatures. This keeps doctors, nurses, and healers busy all over the world. Different people and cultures have found many ways to make life work, but few are easy. There are tools for every need: fire for warmth, knives for food, nets for fishing, wheels for moving things, and shelter for protection. Some tools are very old, some are new, but the story is the same. People must use what they make to survive and grow. Even the way humans rest is special. Animals mostly sleep where they find safety, but humans make beds, blankets, pillows, and special places for babies to dream softly. People read bedtime stories, sing songs, and turn off lights. This makes sleeping safe and calm, but it is always a made thing, not a natural skill. Plants and animals grow, shelter, and feed themselves in ways that match their world. They wake with the sunrise, sleep with sunset, find what is needed, and rarely change the world so much. Humans, instead, always change the world more than the world changes them. Some thinkers believe that this means people are always adapting, always building a new layer between themselves and nature. It is a sign of intelligence, but also of being different. Perhaps this is the reason humans still look for new places, safer homes, or an answer to why the Earth does not always feel quite like home. When looking up at the stars, many wonder if there is a place that would feel more natural, where the air, the sun, the water, and the land all fit human needs perfectly. This hope keeps people studying space, learning about distant planets, and dreaming of what life could be somewhere else. All of these things, clothing, shelter, tools, groups, rest, and movement, show how hard people work to be comfortable. They use their minds and hands to change the world. They share ideas and solve problems together. But no matter how good people become at adapting, there is still a feeling, sometimes, of not fully fitting in. The long history of invention, change, and hope shows that humans are truly unique. Their bodies, minds, and hearts are always asking for more. It may be that this search comes from a deep part of the human story, a story that is older and wider than anyone knows. People look for answers everywhere, and as they look beyond the Earth, they wonder what they will find if that search ever comes to an end. People everywhere have always wanted to understand more about where life began and how humans fit into the story of Earth and the universe. When people feel different or out of place, they start to ask bigger questions. These questions lead to a search for clues that can give answers. Scientists and thinkers do not only look at what is around them, they also look up to the stars, out to the planets, and deep into materials from space. This search goes beyond one world and reaches out, hoping to find new information about life. One important way scientists search for clues about life is by studying rocks and dust that come from space. Sometimes small or large rocks fall through Earth's sky. These rocks are called meteorites. Meteorites come from many places, like the Moon, Mars, asteroids, and far away in the universe. When meteorites are found, scientists take them to labs and look inside. They use special tools to see what chemicals or tiny pieces are in the rock. Many meteorites have parts like carbon and water, which are needed for life. Some also have tiny grains of things called amino acids. Amino acids are small building blocks that make up the proteins in all living things. The surprise is that these same amino acids are also found in meteorites. This means that some of the things that build life can travel through space on rocks and land on planets. This makes people think that Earth might not be the only place with these life-building materials. Scientists also use very powerful telescopes to look at planets and stars. These telescopes can be on the ground or flying far above the Earth. They can show light that people cannot see with their eyes, such as infrared or radio waves. By looking at distant planets, scientists can learn if some have water, clouds, or even special gases like oxygen or methane. These gases can sometimes be made by life. When a planet far away is found to have the right air or water, it makes scientists excited. They ask if that world might have living things too. There are other worlds in our solar system that interest scientists. Mars has always been one of the most important. Robots have landed on Mars and moved across its red soil. These robots take pictures, collect dirt, and look for chemicals that could come from life. Some robots even drill into the ground or test the air for gases that can be made by living things. Sometimes the robots find small things that look like signs of ancient water or simple bacteria, but so far there is no proof of living things on Mars now. The moons around big planets also give hope for new clues. Europa is a moon around Jupiter. Enceladus is a moon around Saturn. Both moons have thick ice covering oceans underneath. From time to time, these moons shoot out water or ice into space. Spacecraft that fly near the moons can grab samples of this water as it travels. When the water is studied back on Earth, scientists find salt, simple chemical pieces, and sometimes even things that can be used by living things. These discoveries make people wonder if anything is alive under that ice. In recent years, new telescopes have found planets that travel around other stars. Some of these planets are close to the right size, temperature, and distance from their stars to allow for water and life. A special telescope called Kepler looked at thousands of distant stars and found that planets around other suns are very common. Some of these faraway planets, called exoplanets, may have the right conditions for living things. When a new planet is found, scientists try to measure its air. They hope to find special signs like too much oxygen or other gases that usually need life to be made. If such signs are found, it could mean the planet is not empty. It could be full of living things, even if they are very different from anything on Earth. No one has found a world with clear signs of life yet, but with better tools, people hope to one day find a place that shares some of Earth's secrets. Scientists also send special machines, called probes or robots, to other worlds. These machines are built to work in hard places where people cannot go yet. The robots drive, fly, or dig, looking for things that can tell about the story of life. They take samples of dirt, gas, and water, and send the information back to Earth. Every time a robot finds something surprising, people learn more about what is possible. Some search is done by listening for signals from far away. For decades, large radio dishes have listened for simple sounds or patterns sent through space. Scientists want to know if another group out there is trying to say hello, or to send information in a way that does not happen by chance. So far, people have not found a message from another world, but the search continues every day and night. Old rocks on Earth help in the search for clues too. Rocks that are billions of years old can have tiny marks or fossils in them. These are signs of the very first living things. By looking at these fossils with special microscopes, scientists can learn what life was like long ago. They find patterns, shapes, and chemicals that tell how life changed and grew over huge amounts of time. Ice and mud that collect at the bottom of the ocean or under thick ice sheets hold another kind of clue. These layers build up year after year. Each thin layer can be studied to see what the world was like, what lived there at the time, and even if something from space landed on Earth then. Sometimes, sudden changes in the layers show a crash from a meteorite or a big shift that could be a clue about life changing. By matching rock layers, fossils, and DNA, scientists look for times when life changed suddenly. They ask whether those changes might connect to something arriving from space. a new batch of chemicals, or a group of tiny life forms that started something new. These sudden changes, called leaps, are not always easy to explain by slow evolution. Each new clue helps with building a bigger picture. To go deeper, some researchers study deep coal mines, caves, salt lakes, or hot springs for strange life that can survive in places most living things cannot. The life that survives in these hard spots is called extremophiles. They show that life can begin and grow in places with heat, cold, no light, lots of salt, or even strong chemicals. If life can survive in those spots on Earth, then it might live in other places in our solar system too. One goal is to bring samples from other planets or moons back to Earth. When robots dig on Mars or fly through the water from a moon, they collect pieces for scientists to study very closely in labs. If even the smallest bit of life is found, or if the building blocks of life match what is found here, it could mean life is shared across the universe, not just on Earth. Scientists also try to make life in the lab using chemicals from meteorites or what they find in space. By mixing water, heat, and simple molecules, they hope to see if living cells can form by themselves. Sometimes, very simple cell-like structures do appear. This does not prove life came from space, but it does show that the right parts and the right time can let life start in more than one way. Signals from space are another kind of clue. Scientists listen for regular, purposeful patterns in radio waves that could be made by someone trying to make contact. All over Earth, people run projects to listen for even the smallest message. So far, there has been no clear word from another place, but every search helps people learn more about space and the ways messages could be sent. As science and technology improve, people can look at things that were hidden before. Instruments get smaller, sharper, and faster. They can see, hear, and measure tiny details, faraway planets, faint signals, and the smallest signs of life. Satellite cameras, super telescopes, and robots on other worlds all add to the search, bringing in more and more pieces of the puzzle. The questions are always about connection. Is the chemistry of life on Earth the same as somewhere else? Would a living thing from another world have DNA, or would it use new tools and new codes to grow? How would people know if they found true proof? These are not easy questions. Sometimes, the smallest bit of pattern or the oddest finding leads to the biggest discoveries. There are even stories from history and ancient books about lights in the sky, strange visitors, or special knowledge brought from above. While these are not proof, they show that people everywhere have long wondered about a link between here and somewhere else. Each story is another clue in the long search for answers. The sky at night is full of stars, planets, and quiet. People across the world look up and wonder if someone is looking back, also asking questions about life, the universe, and meaning. This feeling joins people in a wish to find out the truth of where life starts and how it travels. The hope of finding something out there is not just for scientists. It belongs to children asking about the stars, to people building new machines for travel, and to everyone who feels there is more to the story of life than what is seen on the ground. The wish to know more is part of being human. New missions are being planned all the time. Some want to send robots to dig on Mars. Others hope to fly to the icy moons and bring back water for a close look. There are ideas to find smaller planets around the nearest stars, to search for their air, and to look for signs that cannot be made by rocks alone. Each mission adds a new path in the search for life. All of this is part of a very old journey. For thousands and thousands of years, people have asked where life begins, if humans are alone, and where the first home might be. Today, new tools, shared ideas, and brave journeys help in this search, making the story of life bigger and more full of hope. As each new clue is found, the puzzle changes. Sometimes answers are found, Sometimes new questions take the place of the old ones. Science, wonder, and imagination all move together, showing new ways that living things grow and travel on Earth and beyond. People know that the search is not over. With each new discovery, there is excitement and sometimes surprise. What is found in rocks, ice, or faraway planets could one day change what is known about life everywhere. People keep looking, asking, and reaching for understanding, always searching for the next secret waiting to be found. Looking for clues about life leads people in many directions, and sometimes the oldest questions become the hardest to answer. When scientists and thinkers look for the truth about where humans come from, they study not only the outside world, but also what is deeply hidden inside each person. Some of the secrets about human origins may not be written in rocks or found in the sky, but instead may be held in memories, stories, and parts of the mind that are hard to see or describe. Humans are different from other animals in many ways, as people have learned. One special thing about people is the way they remember, dream, and keep stories alive. Remembering is not only about what happened yesterday or last year. Sometimes people remember things they do not fully understand or that do not fit with their life now. These strange memories may be dreams, feelings, or ideas that seem to come from somewhere else. It is possible that deep inside each person there are traces of events, skills, or knowledge that are very old, maybe so old that they do not belong only to one family or group, but to all people everywhere. If life on Earth began with seeds, codes, or travelers from somewhere far away, those first living things would have learned, grown, and changed on this planet. Over very many years, the first beings could have lost almost all their old stories and skills. Generation after generation, memories can become weaker. Knowledge that was once important could be forgotten as new problems and new ways of living appear. As bodies and minds adapt to a new place, old knowledge can fade, leaving only a shadow or a quiet feeling. Stories from many places tell about ancient worlds, lost lands, or journeys through the stars. In these stories, people often speak about forgetting, about losing a home, or about searching for something they once knew but cannot find again. These ideas appear in legends, myths, and even in works of art and music. Sometimes these stories are about real history, wars, travels, or changes. Other times, they might be secret images of a much older past, hidden deeper than anyone can remember. There are times when people feel a longing for a place they have never seen, or feel comfortable with ideas and images that do not match their world. Children everywhere play at building, exploring, and dreaming of new places. Artists paint or make music about strange lands and unknown stars. People sometimes feel afraid or excited by things they cannot name, as if deep inside they are looking for something missing. While these feelings are not proof, they are part of the human story. Some experts study the mind and memory to see how deep these hidden stories go. They ask if it is possible for knowledge or feelings to be carried for many generations, even when people do not talk about them or write them down. There are old ideas about ancestral memory, where things learned by ancient people stay hidden, waiting to appear when needed. Science does not have a full answer about how deep memory can reach, but studies show that instincts, fears, and talents often appear in families, sometimes without teaching. Others look at the strange skills and dreams that some people have from early in life. Some children draw shapes, tell stories, or sing songs that seem new to their families, or that do not match their time and place. People of every culture have dreams of flying, finding lost cities, or speaking a language they never learned. Some feel a strong pull toward the sky, the ocean, or the stars, as if they are remembering something forgotten. Art and imagination also hold secrets. The first people painted on cave walls long before there were cities or writing. They drew images of animals, of people with wings, of stars and circles and shapes that may mean more than can be said in words. These pictures are often made in dark, hidden places, as if the act of drawing them was a way to unlock old memories or to pass on something important. The hands seen painted on stone walls are the hands of those who came first, reaching out through time. Music, too, often goes beyond what is spoken. Songs can bring back feelings and memories even when the listener does not know why. Drums, flutes, or voices can make a person feel happy, sad, hopeful, or restless. Some music feels old, as if it carries a memory not just from childhood but from far back before any person alive could remember. There is also something special in the shared stories of beginnings. In cultures around the world, there are tales of people coming from the stars, from the sky, or from places of light. Some speak of falling to earth, of walking long journeys, or of having to learn everything new. These stories are alike in many ways, even when they are separated by oceans and time. The details change, but the heart of the story, a lost past, a long road, and a search for home, stays the same. Skills and inventions may also be echoes of old knowledge. The first fires, the first wheel, the first field planted with seeds, or the first home built to keep out the cold, each one might have been a return, not an invention. Maybe early people remembered in some deep part of the mind what it meant to use tools, light a flame, or make shelter. Learning comes quickly when it feels like remembering. Sometimes people find mysteries in words and languages. Around the world, there are very old words that have similar sounds or meanings, even in different lands. Some words for sky, star, sun, or life are alike in places far apart. People wonder if these old words are pieces of a single forgotten language, or if they hold ideas from before people were separated. There is another clue in the things all people wish for. The dream of peace, of belonging, of being safe, loved and understood is seen in every culture. The hope to find answers, to explore, to heal, or to make the world better, even if life is difficult, may come from a very old source. Something inside every person pushes for more, for knowledge, for return. This feeling might be all that is left from a world before this one, or from a time when people lived somewhere else. Some scientists study DNA and wonder if a hidden message is found deep inside. If the first life on Earth or the first humans came from another planet, perhaps there are patterns, codes, or pieces inside DNA that remember this other place. So far, no one has found a clear message, but every piece of DNA tells a long story. Each gene, each pattern, each strange and unexplained sequence can be seen as a kind of memory from the beginning of life. There is a feeling among many people that something was lost. Some mourn a time they never knew. They feel out of place or look for meaning in stars and stories. People move, build, and invent, searching for comfort or discovery. Even when problems are solved, the feeling of searching continues. This sense of loss and hope travels with families, with nations, and with every person who dreams. In some parts of the world, special dreams or visions are seen as messages about origins. In these stories, people travel to other worlds, meet visitors from the sky, or receive gifts of knowledge and light. While these may be dreams, they could also be the mind's way of holding on to very old memories, retelling the stories of how life or people came to be on Earth. Even sickness or weakness may be a sign of a past left behind. If people once lived in a place without today's diseases, sunlight, or foods, the problems they face now could be the body's way of remembering old needs. Each allergy, each need to protect from the sun, or each sickness different from animals might show what used to be normal long ago. Families tell stories to children to help them remember what matters, how to act, what is safe, or what is possible. Sometimes these stories are very old, passed down over hundreds of years. The same lessons appear in different times and places, as if people all over the world are trying to remember the same truths. As people build new things and make discoveries, they sometimes find very old ideas return. A new city is made, but the people still dream about open skies and stars. A new tool is found, but it feels familiar, as if known before. Each step forward brings memories from behind. Every invention, every story, every hope may be a way of reaching back to what was lost. The search for meaning, for home, or for lost knowledge shapes human life. Art, dreams, and quiet thoughts before sleep all hold a place for the past. Sometimes answers seem close, just out of reach. Sometimes they are hidden and make people ask more questions. People who study the brain know that memory is not perfect. It changes, fades, or mixes things over time. Yet some things stay even when no one teaches them. The ways people sing to babies, the shapes drawn on stone, or the wish to come together in groups for safety and stories do not go away. They may be memories of something long ago, shared by everyone. When people explore, read books, or look up at the stars, they are searching as much inside as outside. The fastest computer or the biggest telescope cannot find the answer alone. Sometimes the truth is in a quiet thought, a moment of wonder, or a dream that feels more real than day. The idea that people carry lost memories is simple and deep. These memories may not have words, but they shape every step. They can make someone feel a place is special, a star is bright, or a friend is important. These small signs are part of being human, a sign that each person is more than just their body or their life today. Each is part of a story still being remembered. This journey into forgotten origins and lost memories is not about sadness. It is about hope and the wish to know and to belong. As humans keep on searching, they make new memories, build new stories, and share dreams that may help unlock the old ones, leading everyone closer to the beginning and to who they truly are. As people keep searching for answers and try to remember what may have been forgotten, their eyes and minds turn to the future as well as to the past. If the story of life on Earth holds mysteries and missing pieces, it is natural to wonder what new possibilities might exist. For many years, scientists, thinkers, and ordinary people have asked if life comes only from this world or if it could come from somewhere else. They wonder if humans, or the first bits of life, are not from Earth alone. If this is possible, there are many ideas that could change how people see themselves, their home, and their place in a much larger story. The idea that other planets could have life is now taken very seriously. Scientists have found thousands of planets moving around other stars, not just in our own solar system. Some of these planets are bigger or smaller than Earth. Some are covered in gas, and some may have oceans or land. People do not yet know if these planets hold life, but every year new tools find more places where living things could be. There is hope that one day someone will see real signs of life outside of Earth. If humans are not originally from Earth, it may mean that there are other planets people could call home. These places might have land, seas, and air like Earth, or they could be very different, with colors, weather, and life that people have never seen. The first seeds of human life might have come from just one of these places, or from many, traveling through space over a very long time. Some people think about the idea that there are many worlds, each with its own story, and that humans belong not just to Earth, but to a much bigger family across the universe. There could also be other beings alive right now, somewhere far away. These beings could look nothing like people or animals on Earth. They may have bodies and minds that work in new ways, shaped by the world they come from. These beings could share a connection with humans, maybe as distant relatives, or maybe as travelers from long ago who helped life grow on new planets. The thought that other beings might be waiting to be found is exciting to many people. If people found a planet like Earth, with similar plants, oceans and mountains, it would be one of the biggest discoveries ever. Scientists dream of sending cameras, robots, or even people to explore and learn about these new worlds. When looking for new places to live, people hope to find signs that life can survive there: water, warmth, good air, and food that is safe to eat. Every new world gives hope that humans are not alone, and that the story of life is even greater and wider than before. Another possibility is that very old ruins, tools, or pieces of knowledge might be found. These may be from travelers who came to Earth from another world, or from humans who came from far away before Earth itself was ready for life. If someone finds a piece of technology or writing that does not fit with what is already known, it may be a clue to another origin. Many people imagine finding big buildings under the ground, messages written in code, or forgotten machines that tell a story from a time before any history was kept. Scientists use different ways to look for these answers. Some listen for sounds or light signals from other planets. Others search for things in space that do not match what should be there: regular blinking sounds, moving patterns of lights, or chemicals that cannot be made by nature alone. Each new tool and test helps in the search, but nothing has yet been found that proves humans came from another world. There are also ideas of arrival, times when beings, seeds, or ships may have reached Earth. If these arrivals happened, they could have started new kinds of life or mixed with the life already here. Over many generations, these visitors could become part of the world, leaving only small clues behind in their shape, language, or memories. The visitors might have left information or warnings to be found by people today, hidden in hard places or in ideas passed from parent to child. If new discoveries are made, if signs are found from far away, there will be many new questions. People would want to know where, when, and how the first life was started, if others are still out there, and if Earth is only one of many worlds for living things. This would make humans see themselves as part of a much bigger network, with many roots and many possible homes. Even without proof, these questions encourage people to search farther. New missions are sent to the Moon, Mars, and far bodies in the solar system to get samples. Teams plan to bring back tiny parts of rock and soil to check for signs of life or things made by hands instead of by nature. People hope to send machines to other stars as technology grows stronger. Each trip brings the chance to find the first sign, maybe a small part of a building, a shaped stone, or a pattern in the land that looks like it was made on purpose. Dreamers and writers often picture what life on other planets could be like. In these dreams, people walk under new skies, see plants and animals that do not match any on Earth, or meet friendly beings who share new ideas. Some speak of cities made of glass, metals, water, or energy. Others imagine thick forests, flying creatures, or worlds covered in ice. These ideas help humans picture what is possible and keep hopes alive for the future. If humans did come from another world, there might also be information kept for the right person to find. Some believe that messages could be locked in DNA, only to be found when someone learns how to read them. Others say the answer could be in math, music, or patterns in the stars and planets. Maybe stories, numbers, or art left on the oldest walls tell a truth no one has noticed yet. There are people who look for messages from the sky by studying the stars each night, watching as they move and change. Some keep careful records of every light, hoping to see something different. There are groups who search old caves, deserts, and lakes for marks or objects that do not belong. Strange stones, perfect shapes, or lines carved into rocks. These could be memories from lost ages or signs from before people traveled long ago. Some think about what could happen if humans ever do leave Earth for another world. They might become the travelers, bringing life and ideas to a new home. These future explorers would carry parts of Earth with them, plants, animals, languages, and stories, and mix them with whatever is found in their new place. In time, they would change and adapt, making new cultures and new ways of living that fit their new world. If these new beginnings happen, the old question returns: where is home? For people who change planets, the meaning of home may keep growing. It might mean their new world, all the worlds where life can live, or something deeper inside that travels with them in spirit, memory, and hope. Every new idea helps people learn and grow. Scientists test old beliefs, ask new questions, and share each discovery. School children learn about the solar system, distant stars, and planets with possible oceans. Artists make new pictures and songs about what could be. Writers imagine journeys across light years, while scientists plan how to send machines far beyond the reach of today's rockets. No matter how far the search goes, the heart of the question is always the same. People want to know if they are alone, or if somewhere in a different corner of space, others are living, thinking, and searching too. This hope keeps people looking up and also looking within, searching for connections between the past and the future. If new worlds are found with life, it will not only be important for science, it would change what people believe about themselves and their part in the universe. There could be new ways of thinking about family, about strength and weakness, and about what it means to be alive. It might help people understand each other better and take care with every living thing, knowing that the story of life is shared in ways never imagined before. There is also a feeling of adventure that grows from these possibilities. Some people train to become astronauts or engineers, learning to live far from home. Others read and write about great voyages, making plans even when the way is hard or far. The wish to set out, to cross a new frontier, is in many people's hearts. It may come from deep inside, maybe from the same drive that makes people ask where they came from or look for old memories. Thinking of humans as travelers in the universe opens new doors for science, faith, and imagination. If life can move between planets, it could start again and again, building new forms in many places. This would mean that life is not just something rare or strange, but part of the way the universe works. Wherever the right pieces and the right conditions come together, life could begin, grow, and search for meaning. Each new step in discovery comes from a question, one question turning into another, and each person who asks becomes part of the story. This story is about more than survival or change. It is about meaning, about connection, and about finding a place in a world that may be bigger and more full of surprises than anyone can see at first. As people keep looking outward for answers, they also find new questions about themselves. What are the things that make humans strong or weak? Why do they wish for new beginnings, and why do they search for family, peace, and understanding? These questions matter as much as any signal from space or new planet found. There are still no final answers, but each new discovery brings hope and wonder. If the first home of humans is waiting somewhere far from Earth, the search goes on, held by everyone who looks at the stars or wonders why they feel a pull to something they cannot name. Each day, as science and searching move forward, the story of life grows longer, reaching across time and space, opening the door to even greater mysteries about who people are and where they truly belong. Looking up at the sky has always made people ask important questions about their lives. These questions are simple at first. Who am I? Where do I come from? Why am I here? As people learn more about the world and what may be beyond, these questions grow bigger and stronger. It is not only about the planet under their feet, but about the deep story that connects every living thing. People want to understand if there is a meaning to life, if they have a special place in the universe, and how their journey as humans is connected to everything around them. As science, stories, and dreams all come together, humans begin to see their journey in a new way. The search for answers is not something that belongs only to one group or to people who study planets. It belongs to every person who looks at the stars or wonders about the beginning of life. The need to find where they belong is part of being a person. It helps people grow, learn, and change. It is this search that moves families to tell stories, explorers to travel, and scientists to build new tools to look farther into the distance. Some people believe that meaning comes from knowing that humans are connected to the world and to each other. When people care for each other, share food, help the sick, or build homes and schools, they feel a sense of purpose. This kind of meaning comes from love, kindness, and the hope that each day can be better than the last one. People find strength in community and in traditions, passing ideas and skills from parents to children, from teachers to students, from friends to friends. These connections stretch back for thousands of years and forward into the future. Other people look for meaning by searching for answers in nature and in science. They collect rocks, study animals, write down what they see, and share their ideas. They ask how stars are made, how life changes, and how far space may reach. Each small answer brings new ideas and bigger questions. Every discovery is a light on the path, showing new ways to think about the world and about humans themselves. The story of science is not finished but is always growing, with each new idea adding to the picture. There are also those who find meaning in faith, hope, and dreams. They may believe that life is a gift, that each person has a soul, or that there is a higher truth or love that guides the world. These hopes help people face hard times, loss, or fear. They bring comfort in the quiet of night or when someone is alone. Prayers, songs, and quiet thoughts are shared by people everywhere, in many languages and ways, but all holding a sense of wonder and a wish for understanding. When people think about where life comes from, it is natural to wonder if their own story is something special. The idea that humans could come from another world or that life itself moves across the universe does not make life less important. In fact, it can make life even more amazing. If life is strong enough to travel great distances, to find a new home, and to grow in strange places, then every living thing is part of an even bigger story. This idea brings humans closer together, showing that they are not alone, but share a journey with every piece of life: plants, animals, the land, the sea, and even the stars. As more is discovered, people begin to see how small their planet is and how big the universe can be. The sun is one of many stars, and there may be others like Earth moving around those stars, waiting for discovery. With each new step, technology makes it possible to see farther, learn faster, and dream bigger. People use telescopes, computers, and spacecraft to collect new information. Every child in school learns about planets, atoms, energy, and ancient times, knowing that there is always more to learn. Because the universe is so wide and full of mystery, some individuals feel small or lost, but many also feel hope and excitement. They think about how different life could be, how each moment is part of a long journey, and how many new things could still be found. The wish to ask, to search, and to find out the truth is a light that guides people each day. Even as people explore the stars, they also look inside. They ask what it means to be human, what is important, and how they can make a difference. Doing simple things like sharing, laughing, or learning shows that meaning is not found only far away. It is also here, in the close moments between people. in the care for children, or in a gentle touch. Meaning grows in kindness, in working for peace, and in remembering the past with hope for what comes next. The idea that life may travel between worlds changes the way people see the universe. Instead of thinking of Earth as a lonely place, it opens the door to friendship, discovery, and adventure. People start to think about home in a new way, not only as a house or city, but as the wide universe itself. Home can become every place where life is possible, every world where a story can begin, and every heart that holds hope. There are many old stories and new ideas about how life began and how it will continue. Some talk about a journey from the stars, some about growing from the earth, some about being made with special love or chosen for a purpose. Each story gives comfort and meaning and helps people see the value in each life. Knowing that life changes, grows, and adapts over time gives people strength to face whatever comes. People everywhere keep searching, building, and caring. The search for meaning leads to new art, new science, new inventions, and new ways to live together. People build bridges, sing songs, write books, and make plans for a future that is better for everyone. The hope to understand the universe brings people together, making them kinder and more patient, able to listen and learn from others who are different. Every journey changes the way people think about their place in the universe. When someone learns a new skill, travels to a new place, or meets a new friend, their world becomes bigger. The way people treat each other matters. As people study the stars and reach for understanding, they also find that caring for the earth and for one another is part of their greatest gift. In the end, the search for who humans are, where they come from, and where they are going is a story that will never really end. Each new answer opens the door for new questions. Each new friend shows another side of the story. Each new day brings a chance to learn, to grow, and to dream. People do not need to know everything to have meaning in their lives. They only need to keep asking, to keep caring, and to keep moving forward with hope. The universe is not empty. It is filled with light, with energy, and with living things. Humans, with all their searching and wondering, are part of that great web. Each person is important, each life a part of the story, and each question a doorway to new understanding. The mystery does not make life less. It makes everything more interesting, more exciting, and more full of hope. People make meaning by being together, by sharing what they know, and by building a future. Every song, every laugh, every act of kindness adds to the story. As people keep learning about the universe, about life, and about each other, they become stronger, wiser, and more connected. The biggest discoveries may not be far away, but right in the simple acts of every day. Learning about the stars, the planets, and the deep history of life reminds people that the universe is always growing. There will always be more to find, more to understand, and more to celebrate. Even when big questions are not answered, the journey to look for those answers gives life meaning and joy. As long as people keep looking, caring, and loving, their story will continue. The universe will always have new secrets, new adventures, and new chances for every person to find a place. This search, this hope, and this meaning belong to everyone, everywhere, forever.